On the 17th of March, we closed the pharmacy for St. Patrick's Day as usual, but it was not a normal day. We completely reconfigured the pharmacy that day for the pandemic to hit, basically. We were very aware that we're a very rural pharmacy surrounded by sea on 3 sides, and the next pharmacy is 16 miles return. So we wanted to ensure that we kept the pharmacy open. We had a system where we allowed 3 patients in at once, and we had one of the staff members in the door making sure that people stood outside. The patients were very good. In general, they adhered to the rules and regulations. They came in when they should have. Of course, we then had some very difficult patients. Patient behaviour became erratic. People got angry. People didn't seem to understand that we couldn't obtain their medicines because the volume of prescriptions were overwhelming, and obviously there just wasn't the stock in the wholesalers. So we had a lot of patients that we had to soothe, and we did. And then we had patients who, it was ridiculous, looking for toilet rolls, paracetamol and hand sanitizer. We came together very well as a team. Everyone felt very under pressure, especially initially, I think. And we formed 2 teams because we didn't want COVID coming into the team and then we would all have to go off. That worked very well, but people worked early mornings and late nights. And particularly the other pharmacist and I initially, because we were delivering after work. The shielded patients definitely were frightened, were phoning up, asking a lot of questions, and we were spending a lot of time on the phone. That was the other thing. The volume of phone calls was extraordinary. We couldn't have done we had 2 extra members of staff. Both of those girls were Saturday girls who university had finished for them, so they came in, and that was great. We were triaging on the phone. We were triaging in the middle of the pharmacy, and we also had drive-bys where people brought maybe their elderly parents in the car for us to have a look at. In fact, the other pharmacist here saw a patient in the car and told her immediately to go and to speak to someone about her eyes. I'm not sure she went on petition or the GP, but in fact she had an eye operation the next day that saved her sight. We got a lovely card of thank you about that, and that was through the pharmacy. We also had a lady who phoned, and well, after I spoke to her for about 30 seconds, I said to her, you need to phone 999, and her husband had actually had a stroke because patients believed the GPs were closed, which of course was not the case. They would speak to them on the phone, but you couldn't get through to your GPs because everyone was phoning for their medicines. PPE was a difficulty. It was warm, it was difficult to communicate, it was difficult to hear, but you do get used to it. Closing morning and lunchtime, really, we had no option but to do it, and thank goodness for it. The cleaning that was involved in making sure that we were sanitised meant that we needed the hour, and also everyone needed to regroup because we were all working under such intense pressure, difficult at times. CPNI and I have to say the Department of Health really supported us with their communications. We couldn't have done without their emails. The guidelines were changing so regularly, and we needed that backing, and I felt very much supported, and the rest of the staff felt very much supported. The pandemic showed, I think, Northern Ireland and I'm sure the wider country as well, that pharmacy is the front line of healthcare. Certainly our patients couldn't have done without us, and I think that's across the board.